Hello again, lockpicking Paul here, and what I've got tonight is a Magnum Mont Blanc. This is a wafer lock, and it's a brown belt rated lock on LPU, which took me a little bit by surprise, if I'm honest. There are no false gates in this. I think all of the security is provided by a particularly gnarly keyway, and it is fiddly to get a pick in and out of there. The wafers don't give a ton of feedback, but you do see people picking these really rather quickly, and that's what you're going to see in a minute. You're going to see a fairly fast pick of this. But I am going to do a gut, and you don't generally see guttings of these locks, with good reason. First of all, they're normally double Euro format, and you'll notice here that you would normally undo this as an Allen screw, I think, and each lock body would slide off of this hardened steel shaft. But someone, the manufacturer, has driven ball bearings into the center of those bolts, which means you can't get them out, you can't unscrew them. So if you want to gut this lock, you've got to cut it in half. Now, that does come with a bit of a warning. You'll notice you can't take the core out of the front. Even if you have the key in there, the core will not come out of the front. In fact, the core has to come out of the back of this housing. And actually, if you cut one of these in half, the lock, there's a very good chance the lock will self-gut. And the core has 7 ball bearings in it. They're tiny, and they do like to go running, as I've discovered. So, and there's nothing keeping this core in here at all. So what I've done, I've had to jury rig using an old cam, because there's nothing in this Bible, all right? All of the mechanisms in the main housing. This is hollow. I put a riv nut in here. I basically screwed on an old cam just to keep the core in place so it doesn't come flying out the back of a lock. So they are particularly unpleasant to gut. There are, like I said, lots of tiny ball bearings, lots of tiny springs. They're horrible. I've got to be honest, really horrible to gut. But I am going to do it because you don't see them very often. What are my views on this lock? I actually think this is not a particularly hard pick. You've got to be gentle with it, and there is some very subtle feedback, but I'm not sure quite what makes it a brown belt. Like I said, the keyway is awkward, and it's much more awkward than the average wafer lock. But brown, I'm not so sure. Anyway, I'll let you decide. Up now, the pick and the gut. See you in a moment. Okay, let's get it picked. I can't really show the core too well. It's buried right in this housing, obviously, but I will show it when it's picked. I'm going to use, because of a narrow keyway, I'm going to use the multi-pick V60. It's a 0.4mm pick, but it does slip in here rather well. It's got a flat tip on it, which is pretty good on the wafers. So I'm just going to work on the top row. Actually, I've got a bottom wafer that's in the way. Get rid of that. Right, now onto the bottom. Pretty good false going on. There you go, that's open. So yeah, not hard, I don't think. Just got to be very gentle with it. There you go, it's picked. I'll just show that rotating. In fact, we don't need to worry about locking it back up again, which we will do, because the core will just slide out of the back of this lock. So let's get it gutted, which is the horrible bit. I need to pay full attention here because these ball bearings could go for a bit of a walkabout. So that's just drill a hole through the centre of this cam and used a riv nut just compressed into, there's a hole in here that will just set inside that hole really rather well actually. So taking the core out is this simple. Just give it a push. Now I'm going to put it over here in case any of the ball bearing. Yeah, there goes one. There's another. Okay, what that was is the front guard plate. It's like a spinner on the front of a lock, which goes in front of a warded section. Doesn't really do anything other than probably makes the front of a lock look tidier. So this is your, I'll get to what I'm going to do. I'm going to account for all 7 ball bearings first of all, because we don't want to lose those. The lock will stop working. Each wafer has a ball bearing. There are 7 wafers in this lock. A lot of people refer to this as an 8 wafer lock, but there are 7. And you can tell that from the number of ball bearing holes. There are 4 on one side, 3 on the other. So let's drop those out. There might be versions of this core that have 4 holes on either side, but this one only has 3 on one side and 4 on the other. And those bearings coincide with like a dimple in the actual wafer, which I will show. This is the front of the lock, and so this is the warding plate with its 3 sharp spikes. Just put that up there, and we'll put that up there. Right, and the wafers have these 2 plastic guides, if you're going to call them, and they correspond in the lock. When you put it back together again, you'll see the guides slot into these cutaways, like so. Never like to see plastic. They could have made those out of metal or something, I think, but probably costs and all that. Right, so this is a little insert video because it's something I meant to show when I originally gutted this and I didn't. So I've just inserted this bit. I'm in the process of reassembling this thing right now. The ball bearings act like a sidebar. And I don't think it's something that's been shown before, but if you push the wafers in, they retract into those dimples in the wafers that I was talking about, and obviously the core can then turn. So yeah, there you go, ball bearing sidebar, which I think is, I might be speaking out of turn here, but it feels like something new to me. So anyway, there you go. I'll get back to the main video now. You can carry on with my misery gutting this thing. But that's kind of cool. Right, back to the main video. But putting this thing back together again, holding the 7 ball bearings in, holding that stuff so it doesn't sort of get out of alignment, and slotting it back in here is the devil's own job. So I'm just saying, if you do want to gut one of these, I'd think twice about it. I don't think, if you're picking for brown, I don't think LPU consider this to be a guttable lock. So that's worth considering. Oh, by the way, these plastic housings are keyed. They have to go a certain way around. They're not equal. There's like a lip on the back here. Don't know if we can show that. Yeah, you can see the lip just about. That lip slots into that housing there. So get them the wrong way around, it won't fit. Ask me how I know. Right, let's take that one off. Right, so now we've got our wafers. We'll take these out. So I'll do magnetic screwdriver. attaches itself to everything. Right, I'm going to work from front of the lock. Oh, sorry, the front of the lock is here. And the spring is out. And like all tiny springs, they are super, super springy. So there's a lot that can go wrong with the gutting of this lock. Okay, that spring has stayed in. So there's that one. Leave them for now. Nearly there. You said as a spring fell inside the lock, I think. Nope, don't know where that is. It'll be, oh, here it is. I think that was the spring, but I'm missing. It's always the way. Right, so now I've got to take these ones out because I've got to account for all of the springs. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, that's 7 springs. We've got them all. Good. Pop that there. There's not much else to see in the core. It actually goes back together again, putting the wafers in without too much trouble. It's when you start putting ball bearings and whatnot on it. But it all goes horribly wrong. So let's take a wafer. Let's take this one, if I can get it. So a ball bearing corresponds to this indent here. Gives a very positive click when it goes home. And the spring attaches to the bottom of that arm that provides the spring up and down for the wafer. There was really nothing else to these than that. Really simple. But I've got to say, would I use this lock on my property? No, I don't think I would. It doesn't feel terribly well made. I don't like plastic in cores, and I just don't think it's the best. I've got to be honest in terms of actual security. And actually, I don't think picking's a big risk of any lock, but I don't think the physical security is there with this lock either. Got to be honest. But anyway, there you go. Magnum Mont Blanc, very picked. All right. And now I'm going to have a miserable time putting this back together again. Cheers.